As I'm sure y'all are aware, as you've watched this season or listened to it, I like to talk about things that some folks might take issue with. And so today's episode gets into sapphic books in particular, queer culture, and the ups and downs, the amazingness, and the intricacies of how these authors and sometimes society sees queer representation, in particular sapphic representation across the board in all types of media and in relationships. It's a community based situation that is always talked about, even if we don't always see it in the public sphere. So today we're going to have a very fun conversation, but also get into some real deep points about queer and sapphic media and how it shows up in our books, how it can be affected by political things that are happening in the world and or our countries, and even within our family and ourselves. We'll get started with introductions and tell us a little bit about how you started as an author. Just introduce yourself. Let's go with Karmen.
Oh man, I'm first. Okay.
Popcorn.
So I'm Karmen Lee, and I am a romance author. I write predominantly. No, there's no C in there. Predominantly sapphic romance. One language, and I still can't get that right. I write predominantly sapphic romance, but I also do tend to write like a lot of sibling book series with all sorts of pairings in there, mostly romantic comedy, but occasionally, because I'm a Libra, the other side of the scale comes out and I write slightly darker things. I actually got started ghostwriting. So I was a ghostwriter for, oh God, I don't know how long, maybe 7 or 8 years, writing predominantly very white motorcycle romance and mafia romance. That it is what it is. I do not write that anymore. But yeah, that's me. Hi.
Popcorn into someone.
Oh, popcorn. Let's pop it to Allie.
Hi guys. Oh god, that was disgustingly chipper. Right. Hi. I'm Ali Williams. I write filth. My new tagline is the sweetest filth. I'm quite proud of that. I was having a chat with Ruby Rowe and she was like, "How have you written such filth and yet made it in the sweetest love story?" And I was like, "That is my new tagline." There's fisting, there's squirting, and there's also like people falling in love and being soppy. So I'm a writer. I'm also an editor. I have worked with, I think I've worked with Rae. I don't think, have I worked there? I can't remember. I work with people. It's fun. And I'm also doing a PhD on the intersection between queerness, kink, and neurodiversity in romance as well, because I don't have enough on my plate. What's the popcorn thing? I just throw popcorn at someone. Laura, popcorn. Go.
Throw popcorn at me. That's okay.
You call on the next person.
No. You can throw popcorn at me. That's okay. I'm hungry anyways. I'm Laura. I keep trying to hide my shirt because it says something rude in German, and I forgot that I was wearing it. As you can guess from that, I'm based in Germany, and I'm going to say I'm an aspiring author because I only technically published a short story once. With also, I don't know if everyone, definitely a couple of you guys. Okay, only you. And I only write sapphic love stories of any kind, from sappy just falling in love to being murdered and falling in love. So big horror fan. But at the core of it, always sapphic love and happiness. So at least they're gonna survive, maybe. And I right now am not writing a lot, but I do plan to hopefully publish in the future. Right now I'm focused on becoming a firefighter. And I'm gonna throw popcorn at Rae.
That's who I am. So thanks for coming on. Before we get to Meka, I want to say that you are not an aspiring author, Laura. You have published in the anthology One Page One Love, so therefore you are a published author. You're just taking a break until you get your next project going.
Okay, I like that.
This is sensible. You should take breaks and balance things. This is something that everyone on this chat is very good at doing. None of us ever should take on too much in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Right. Meka.
I am Meka James. I write contemporary and erotic romances. My sapphic books have outpaced my non-sapphic stories. So yes, I got started. People always think it's weird. I got started writing via Sims. People are like, "What?" Yes, I am here because of a video game. Um, it's very true. My first story came from the Sims video game, so that's how I ended up here. And yeah, my very first sapphic story was being hospitable because someone had asked me at the time. I sort of caved to peer pressure. I mean, at the time, y'all still bully me into stuff, so I still caved to peer pressure because y'all are mean.
We're
But
angels.
yes, I mean, you are, Allie. You're very sweet. The other two,
I
not
am a
so much.
delight.
You are a fucking delight. Them other two are not so much. And Laura, I'm assuming you're also a fucking delight, but
Oh yeah.
them other ones are not so much.
So now that we know a little bit about everyone, I want to kind of focus on how in any genre, subgenre, or book that has some type of theme, sapphic books also have range, and we will see that there's a lot of scrutiny when it comes to queer books in particular. So, can we just talk about sapphic books and why we think it is that they get viewed differently than any other queer book, and why queer books kind of just get pushed to the side, even though now it's slowly a little bit kind of starting to change.
People hate women.
Yeah. Sexism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why
I'm
people are
sorry.
so. Why are people so afraid of pussy? Pussy is wonderful. Like genuinely,
Yeah.
the internalized misogyny sometimes is a bit scary.
And also most of the like I'm gonna say revolution around queer books, specifically gay books though in this context, came from mostly women reading it and being attracted to the gay characters in it and being able to fetishize that. And while men also want to read about lesbians and fetishize that, it is mostly them wanting porn, which there is book porn, obviously. We have Ali who writes filth. As you've said, and that is greatly
100
enjoyable,
reads.
but that's not all that there is, but that's the only thing that they want to see sapphic women as.
Yeah. I think there's also this like weird misconception that when it comes to sapphic books, it's nothing but emotion too.
Mhm.
Like they're just like, oh, well, I really want books where like there's some smut and there's some sex in it. And it's like, there are
They
plenty of
they
those.
really
You're not
don't think the
looking
women are sexual
hard enough.
beings. And I'm just like, are you
Yes.
kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
They think, and I think, like you're saying, it's partly definitely coming from sexism and misogyny and this idea in a lot of romance novels that even I love. Like, I love a good alpha guy that, whatever, but also I like that in women too.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm.
think there's this idea that, like, two women, for whatever reason, outside of visual porn for men, which also is honestly not that sexy in a lot of ways, that, like, women don't fuck and enjoy
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's just like,
Mm.
no, maybe they just don't enjoy it with you. But like on the page,
Mm-hmm.
these two women are enjoying themselves. And yeah, it's lasting longer than 30 pages. So it's
I
just,
think
Yeah.
I think it's also really important to highlight that those sapphic books are treated differently. There's still a level of privilege in like cis sapphic narratives, like trans and non-binary characters, whether in sapphic books or like there are some other queer representation like aro and ace, and intersex as well, where they also really struggle. I think there's a lot of focus at the moment on why isn't sapphic doing as well as MM, and I think it is in some ways. But yeah, I just wanted to do a shout out to like other, because those particular identities are under particular threat at the moment. I mean, all
yeah,
identities are under threat by,
yeah.
but
I think too, when
those
it
Yeah,
comes
but
to
it
like,
is it is a situation because like you even hear it from women who will be like Laura said, like they fetishize, like they'll gobble up the romances, but then it's ooh vagina.
Mm-hmm.
It's
yeah,
which is very weird, and a lot of it
Cave of
is a
Wonders. I don't
hatred
understand.
of
It's a lot of internalized misogyny.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
some of it is like
Yeah.
it is that it's just a hatred of women, and they can't see women as full people outside of the male gaze.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and outside of that, the the sapphic romances that are getting the buzz now, a lot of it is the popular ones that are coming out now are the femme presenting, conventionally attractive white romances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's still that issue there as well. So there's
Yes.
still like layers to that. So like it's some of the sapphic romances are getting attention now, but it's what is it? The Delilah Green ones. They're still having to fit in a certain box to be
A,
seen
bo-
as acceptable.
White,
a
cis,
box that
femme, like
Able-bodied,
yeah
Yeah.
able-bodied,
feels
conventionally
comfortable.
attractive.
neurotypical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think like
and
they want to see things that don't really challenge them in any kind of
Mm-hmm.
way. Like they can understand why two attractive, able-bodied white women might like each other
Mm-hmm.
because that's maybe what they like. But yeah, if you get two black studs on the cover,
That also
also,
challenges what they
yeah,
see as what a woman is allowed to be.
very much
Yeah.
so. Very much so.
And what's also desirable because, you know,
Yeah.
the narrative for a long time is that black women aren't desirable to begin
Mm-hmm.
with.
And
So
obviously, you can
then
only
that's
read
a whole
something if you want to
other
fuck it yourself.
Exactly.
correct.
Yeah.
and
I
I
think
think
also. Oh, go ahead, Allie.
I think also there's a difference between being gay and being queer. Like people, you can be gay, and I see queer as a political identity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you're queer, that means that you're intersectional, that you're not
Mm-hmm.
just fighting for gay rights or trans rights, you're also fighting for the rights of disabled people, you're fighting for BIPOC rights. Like you have to be
Mm-hmm.
intersectional. And I think sometimes the things I find really hard is when people think of sapphic books, they just want the pretty gay books. They don't actually always want to deal with the realities of political queerness in those books. And the only way you can do that is by being intersectional
Mm.
and acknowledging those things.
Yeah.
Up
Well,
for
I
And
mean,
here's
revolution.
something
going
on
off
the
of that, if
yeah.
if if anybody is writing, anyone in this room, for example, if you're writing sapphic, then it's automatically political
Mm.
because people have a problem with that. And then if you add any layer to that, Meka or Carmen writing have potentially black characters that they're writing. They could also write interracial or whatever. But if you have a black woman who's a lesbian or a black bisexual woman or a black um, non-binary person who's in a relationship that is sapphic presenting, then it's automatically another layer to it.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think to your point, Allie, people don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
And
think Laura, you also said that.
I think on the flip too, it's been really interesting, and I'll just say for me, since a lot of the books that I've published have been romantic comedy, from being in the South and being like a black queer single mother, like it's been a very interesting experience getting some feedback, I guess, from people, from readers, where they're like, oh, well, there is no like struggle about their identity in this book,
Mm.
and I'm like, yes, because in and of themselves, their identity isn't a struggle. Like they know who they are and they know what they like, and
Mm.
there's no struggle in that. The struggle is in just the relationship. And I think one thing that was really nice, I had a talk with another bookstagrammer, black bookstagrammer, and she like was talking about how she's like, I really enjoyed this because the struggle wasn't like them struggling against an external force about their sexuality
Mm.
and about I guess performing their sexuality. The struggle was just a relationship struggle, which is something that everybody has no matter who their chosen partner is, which is really nice. And there have been other black authors, not necessarily about sexuality, but about blackness, that I think, at least for me, being at the intersection of being black and being queer, that I really resonated with, that maybe like white queer people or queer people who aren't black might not have, but just the idea that like a Black book doesn't have to center on quote unquote Black issues. Like it's not about racism.
Exactly.
You can have a Black romance and not have racism the same way you can have a lesbian romance and not have bigotry and homophobia.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so,
Yes.
at least for me, like with my Peach Blossom series, I don't have homophobia in those books because that thankfully is not a struggle that they have to deal with. There are other struggles, 100%, but homophobia is not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was interesting getting some pushback from people who said like, there's no homophobia in this book. Like it doesn't seem realistic. And I'm like, well, for some people that is, which is nice, like yes, being in the South, absolutely there's homophobia. In my own family, I've had to deal with it before. But like that's not necessarily everyone's experience, and that's not my experience 100% of the time, 24/7. There are plenty of times where I'm in like-minded groups, like with you guys, where we're just joking, having a laughing, happy time, talking about relationship struggles potentially that have nothing to do with homophobia and everything just to do with there are two people that have two different brains and their brains might work differently.
Two
And
or
so,
more.
two or more,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
I can only do two
and
because
like,
that's my ADHD would get out
oh,
of
really?
control with that. But like it's just interesting flip side where like
Mhm.
if you don't put struggles
It's
or
like, why do
political
you want
issues
people to
in
struggle?
there,
Yeah.
then like you're
Because
not
it's
doing
an
it right. But then they
expectation.
also don't want to read them because
Mhm.
they'll think there are political struggles in. So it's like you're damned if you put it in and you're damned if you don't put it in.
I feel like
So
when
and also they,
Whoa.
everyone at once.
I was just going to say, and also those readers never complain about the fact that dragon shifters aren't realistic. Like,
Right.
oh no, you're not suffering enough, but let's have a massive dragon daddy with a massive dong who fucks you
Massive dick.
sideways. Like that is completely
And it
realistic.
spins.
I really hope none of my family walk past the door while we're recording this, because
I feel like generally when queer, mostly gay books started becoming more mainstream, like around when I was in high school, there was this like main theme that really pissed me personally off when I started reading queer books, that all of them were about coming out. All of them were like, oh, I found out that I'm gay, usually because mostly it was MLM books at the time. I found out I'm gay and now I don't know how to tell people, and that is the only struggle of the book, and at the end the whole thing is coming out and maybe they get a love interest, maybe. And sometimes there's also struggle around that, and obviously there are people who struggle with coming out. I struggle with coming out, at least to certain people, even though the I've been lucky to have homophobia be a lot less prevalent in my life. But it was like this, basically its own genre. The whole genre was coming out, and so for a while I kind of refused to read queer books at all because I was so sick of reading about coming out. So I only read fan fiction, obviously. And so that's also why when I write something, there's never the struggle is never homophobia, and people don't struggle with coming out. Usually they're out already, or they just go, oh shit, I'm gay, okay, cool. So yeah, I don't know, that really annoyed me as a kid, so now I refuse to write it myself.
Well, no, on the topic of like what you were reading when you were in high school and kind of what was happening then, can we get into what your first sapphic book happened to be? Laura, do you want to start us off, if you recall?
Actually, if you're gonna give me a second to think and look at my shelf, because I'm not sure.
I'm ready.
Ellie, go.
The first sapphic book I read, I was at university. I'd never seen any sapphic books before then. I mean, I read a little bit of fan fiction, but that was it. And it was an FFM book with a bisexual main character, where, to be fair, she ends up with the guy rather than the girl. But it's kind of a poly thing by Eden Bradley called The Lovers, which she's just re-released. And Eden is now one of my friends, which blows my fucking mind. Just like, holy
Eden
shit.
is very sweet.
Oh my god. She's so lovely. And that, it was just everything. And the other book that had that kind of impact on me was 8 Kinky Nights by Zan West, which I love, which is queer, autistic, fat, disabled, Jewish dykes And
They
the
were
cover,
great author.
they were wonderful. The cover made me cry the first time I saw it because I was like, oh shit, that's how I want to feel. That's it. That's the thing I've been looking for. Yeah.
That was a really good book. I enjoyed it because it had that representation. I think you had recommended it to me, and I was like, "Oh, they put their foot in this book. Like they did that. It was really good." Um, so yeah, I don't know if y'all have read Eight Kinky Nights, but it was fun. It definitely should go on the
So,
list if you
and
haven't.
it's
Actually, I
really, really
found
good.
mine.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't
Um,
sure about mine, but I think I obviously that was also kind of a phenomenon. Also, one of the ones I was talking about with the whole coming out genre was Love, Simon when it was big, and then there was
Yeah.
a sequel to that called Leah on the Offbeat, and I think that was my first sapphic book. I remember I now looking back don't really like any of the books anymore, especially Love, Simon. And I guess you all know like the whole controversy around that. But I think looking back, I barely remember the book, but I looked at my shelf and I was like, what might be the first one? And I think it was this one. And then there's also from the Shadowhunter series from Cassandra Clare, there is one book series where she started including more sapphic couples, and that might have actually been the second one, which is kind of funny to me because that was also the first book series where I actually read a queer main character, main couple, and it was MLM, but it was one that encouraged me personally to come out and to realize, oh yeah, I am in love with my best friend. Which did not end well for me, but at least it made me realize that I'm queer as fuck. So that's the upside of
I
that.
love
But I
that
think it
novel.
might have
Yeah.
been those
Yeah.
two instances that were the first ones. And then I
Oh,
didn't read
Malik.
actual, yeah, Malik. And then I didn't read actual queer books for quite a while, up until like a couple years ago. I only wrote them and read fan fiction. But because I mostly read fantasy, there was very little romance in general, because I used to like be one of those, I'm not like other girls, I hate romance. Because I was in deep, deep denial.
that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
It takes a minute. Mika.
My first one was Chinzia's book.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because if we're talking about what I
Think
read when I was younger, I have no fucking clue because who remembers those things?
it was things hope,
Nothing.
right?
Yes. So things hoped for. I tell everyone. Chintzia knows this. Yeah. So Chintzia C. Higgins. Um, things hoped for. That is my first sapphic book. It is great. If you haven't read it, you should. Just know I have claimed the character. She's mine. You can't have her, but you are free to read the book.
It is a really good book.
It is a very
It's a
good book.
very good
Yes,
book.
it
um,
is. But Chintzia even knows the character's not even hers anymore, so it's fine.
yeah, I do recall Cynthia being like, "Yeah, you know what? Fine, you can have her."
Yes.
I'll just write another one.
Right, just it's fine. I mean, she has other ones that are out.
She
Carmen.
does.
Yeah, I think mine is interesting because my first sapphic book probably wasn't labeled that, but like everybody knows, Sailor Moon.
Oh yes,
Sailor Moon. The whole thing.
I thought you were
The
going to say Revolutionary Girls.
Oh, that's my number two. That's my number two. My
Well,
number
if we're
one is
going that
Sailor
way,
Moon.
Wings Club.
Yeah. Oh. Yes.
I'm sorry. I hear all of your things, and I raise you Xena Warrior Princess.
Oh, of course.
You know, it's funny.
Yes.
Books, but if you're talking about books, like 100% Sailor Moon,
Mhm.
because I had and still have the entire series, even though it's falling apart at this point. And yeah, Revolutionary Girl Utena, I had those, and I'll bring it even farther back. Magic Knight Ray Earth was 100% like there weren't a whole lot of sapphic books, and I'll just date myself. Like this is the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like trying to find sapphic books was, especially growing up in like Nashville, fucking Tennessee. No thrill. We had one gay bookstore and it was on Church Street, just FYI. Yeah, funny enough, there was a church on Gay Street. So like, huh? But
Oh.
before that store opened up, and I'll say that store didn't open up until my senior year of high school. So finding gay books was like damn near impossible. For me anyway, you know, thankfully my kid's not here because he'd be like the 19s. But yeah, like internet didn't know her. So like even trying to get fan fiction was really difficult for the longest time. And even then, most of the fandoms were all MLM. And I love me a good boys love. Like I love me a good male romance.
Mhm.
But like I absolutely number one was trying to find women falling in love, but also like women that look like me. That was also like damn near impossible. Um so really I found it in anime and manga. Like that was where I could find, even if the relationships were not blatant or like they changed them to cousins, because incest is better than two women fucking, make it make sense.
Do you mean the
I
split of good
know.
and evil?
They do a lot of that in manga and manga.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
what.
Um,
so
I
confused.
don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't
weird.
get it. But yeah, Sailor Moon was
Okay, cool.
probably like my first where I was like, there's no way you have all of these girls together and they're all straight. Like that
Mm.
just doesn't compute to me. So absolutely, they're 100%. And then of course when you know Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune popped out, I was like, oh yeah, those are lesbians. Like this is great.
I didn't even watch it, and I know they're lesbians.
Yes, and I
Just
was
look at
reading it, and just like I feel like too, like that was one of the first ones where like it felt like the author put care into the two
Yeah.
characters in their depiction, and I loved their relationship because yes, they were soft, but they also balanced each other out very well. And then 100% Revolutionary Girl Utena, like that is just like the queer anthem of like my late 90s growing up heart. So yeah, those were probably like my first forays into the sapphic world outside of just then being like fan fiction 100%.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
We've already got a little controversial earlier, but this whole topic is controversial to some people, right? So, um, we have vaginas.
Hmm.
There are a number of people in the world that have vaginas,
yeah.
but yet we still get sapphic books and any type of vagina bumping, or just two vaginas in a book or more, being frowned upon and looked at as I believe everyone pointed out, only sex, or um, problematic for XYZ reasons. Why is it that sapphic gets fetishized more? And I know that we kind of touched on it a little bit, but why is it that it gets fetishized more than male does? Unless you're a cis white woman, which is a whole thing because they love them some books and they will fetishize that. That's a whole different topic though. Why is it that sapphic books get fetishized outside of cis white het women more so than any other queer book?
I
Why
mean,
do
it
why do
definitely.
lesbians get? I mean,
I mean, we get everything traces back to the patriarchy.
Yeah.
But I mean, just
It
the
does.
idea that people look at women like objects, like they're okay, two
yeah.
Barbie dolls.
Just because we know the answer, I mean, I want to
Yeah,
have the conversation though.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think there's this idea of it is just the idea that like women are sexual objects, but not sexual beings, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the idea that these two women have their own sexual agency and they decide that they want to, trib one another, then like that is somehow strange.
They're fuck
But
dolls for
like,
men, but they shouldn't have agency and
yes,
shouldn't
Right.
like
want
yeah.
sex
Mm.
Yeah,
And
which is
unless it's for
just
babies.
that part. And this
but
sex is not
also,
creating babies. So is
I
it
mean, I
really
had a lot of very mediocre straight sex back when I thought I was still straight. I mean, I never really thought I was straight. I didn't realize I was a full out dyke. And the problem is that there are so many, like,
And
the
even now, I feel
penis
like it's hard to
becomes,
realize.
yeah, penis becomes center stage. The moment the thing comes out, everything is focused on that. And so a lot of pleasure gets pushed aside or not centered. And I think fetishization is wrong, but also one of the things I think is really beautiful about, God, I'm so fucking cheesy. One of the things I think is really beautiful about female made lesbian porn in particular is it's not just well, this comes out and now this is the center. Everything becomes sex. Everything becomes connection, and it becomes about, or sometimes just filthy fucking. All of those are okay, but it's about equal pleasure and balance in a way that feels threatening to heterosexual sex. So the only way to take the power away from that is to go, oh, this is something for us. Like, this is something for the straight male gaze, because if it's for us, then it doesn't threaten the fact that I don't know how to make my woman come.
And that's very true, because it's like in hetero books, you see that when people will be like, oh, there weren't, or when they won't count a certain scene as a sex scene because there wasn't penis in the vagina, because the penis wasn't there. She came because there was foreplay or whatever, but they won't count that as a sex scene because his penis wasn't involved. But I'm just like, but
and obviously it's only sex if he's penetrating her, even though most women can't come from just penetration.
Right. And I'm just like, but how? But so when you take the penis out of the equation, they're like, well, what's the point, kind of thing? So
there's two
when
sides.
you have, right. And so when you have the sapphic books and there's clearly no penis in the equation, then you're just like, then what are we here for? And I'm like, a good time.
A good time and that happens more than once.
And I feel like there's people that even like extend the penis focus to straps, because they're like, oh, but it's still only real sex if someone's penetrating someone, and that can extend from attached penis to otherwise attached strap. And it's
right. And when I wrote Being Hospitable, when I did my first one, I purposely did every scene with no strap included, because I wanted no strap in that book for that very purpose, because I wanted to take all versions of penis out of the equation. And that was a deliberate choice.
And the thing is that straps are great and straps can be there, but it's this idea, it's so limiting. And I think it's one of the reasons why more and more we're starting to see sapphic smut be embraced by more women readers, which is really wonderful, because the pleasure is all about the body, and it's something that they read and go, oh, like, rather than just going, oh god, let's lust after some man, it's, this is what could happen to me, rather than keeping it like, I don't know. And the thing is, everyone's allowed to read whatever they want and enjoy whatever they want. Like, people can enjoy straight sex. That's a thing that happens. Not me anymore. No. I'm a gay lady. I'm very happy.
Yeah. I think there's also a certain level of like control aspect that you see in a lot of straight romances, that I think some people are a lot more kinky than they realize, and they just don't self-actualize this. That there's a lot of power dynamics in straight romance that you don't necessarily get in sapphic romance, where it is, like you said, focused on the male pleasure. Like, pleasure happens when penetration happens. Whereas with, at least for me, a lot of the sapphic, I don't think I've written a strap scene in any of my sapphic books on page just yet, for a similar reason to Meka, where it's just like, listen, the power dynamics happen 100%, and I am absolutely a fan of power dynamics. However, I don't want that necessarily to be the focus of the sex that's happening. The focus of the sex that's happening are between these two characters, for now, only two, female characters, who are just enjoying the fact that when they touch one another, it feels good. And it feels good for both of them. And it's not necessarily like a, she's on top, so she's doing this to her because she's on the bottom. No, like, they're flipping shit around, like that Missy Elliott song, flip it and reverse it. Like, there is enjoyment happening for both of them in all of the aspects that are sexual, and not just, you have to penetrate somebody. Like, somebody has to be penetrated. No, maybe not.
I do explore the power dynamic stuff a lot because I write mainly kinky books. So most, not all the books, but most of my books are sort of dumb swabby. But that doesn't mean that, like, I wrote one where I've got the service top who's the son, and she's the one who does the penetration, even though the one taking it is most definitely in charge. And exploring ideas like, what does pillow princess mean? What does stone top mean? How do things like vaginitis impact the way that you can have sex and the way that you can make love with each other? Like there are different. There are so many nuances to different dynamics and different ways of being a woman and ways of being gay. And that kind of diversity I want to see more of, because otherwise it is all the fetishistic. And that's not to say that, like, white cis lesbian romances are all fetishistic. I don't think they are. Not all of them. Some of them can be. But I want to see more. I want to see everything and everyone, and I want to see all those different representations, because the world is not a monolith. I don't want to read a monolith. I want to read everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's also.
I was just going to say, there's also the books where you have characters that are aromantic but homo, or asexual but homo-romantic, and so they're in relationships but there's no sex involved at all, and that's totally fine too. I've read some that were like really cute and sweet. There's no sex in the book at all, but they still gay as fuck.
And that is still valid. Like, to a lot of people, being gay is just sex and partying. That's like we had Berlin Pride last weekend, and I make a point to avoid it, mostly because I don't like big crowds, but also because I feel like it always gets devolved into just drugs, people trying to have sex outside for some reason. I know some people are into it. Fully fair. I don't mean to shame anybody. Personally, don't understand it, but they make it just about that, when, like, at its basis it used to and still is a protest. And also I feel like a lot of specifically women don't like reading. At least it used to be kind of like this for me before I found out that I was just on the A spectrum and just was that way not really interested in sex as a whole. I will read it now. I will enjoy it in books sometimes, but porn doesn't do anything for me. And before I figured out that I was on that spectrum, a lot of it was about self-hatred of my own body and being ashamed of my own body. And I feel like that's true for a lot of women, because we're kind of taught to be ashamed of our sexuality, our bodies, kind of everything about us, which is only getting worse with AI. And it's just, so there's also just a shame and self-hatred angle to it.
Yeah, I think that definitely
And that
is
we're here for someone else's pleasure of our bodies, which is
the idea of women having pleasure in and of themselves is somehow like strange to people, and
completely abstract.
It's really interesting too that you say that. And I'll just say, I was born in the 80s, and I remember Meka and I were talking about this before, of like the slim fast generation and Weight Watchers generations of the late 90s and early 2000s, where there was such like a hatred of your own body that I think has absolutely continued on, maybe in different ways. It's just kind of morphed itself. But then it's interesting how it crops up, because I even find it with myself, where when I'm writing my characters, and like even when I'm just describing my characters, I'm like, oh man, like why am I describing her as just curvaceous? Like, no, she's fat. Just say she's fat. Fat is not a bad word. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being fat. There's nothing wrong with being curvy, all of the things. But I do think it definitely gets back to this kind of hatred of women's bodies, and even a self-hatred of women's bodies. And it's nice to see that I love seeing it in romance novels now when I'm reading, and there's such like care taken to describing not only a woman's body, but the other character's enjoyment of it.
Yes.
Which is super nice. But I also
appreciation of the jiggle.
Yes, because listen, I'm a Black woman in the South. Yeah, listen, I live in Atlanta, so like that jiggle is great when we're walking down the streets of Buckhead. I'm just gonna say that right now. But yeah, I think it's also fun too to read some sapphic romances, lesbian romances, bisexual and queer romances where sex is not the focus, because I think,
Yeah.
especially in this political hellscape that is the US right now, there's such an emphasis on, if you're talking about LGBTQ issues, then it is sex issues.
Hmm.
And it's like, no,
It's not.
no, it's
There's so
not.
much more.
Being a lesbian is not just about like fucking women. That's not
It's a great
the
part
end
of
all
it,
and be
but
all. It's yay, listen, and I'm just gonna say I'm not ace, so it's an enjoyable part for me. But like, you know, that's not the end all and be all. If
No.
something, heaven forbid, happened tomorrow and I can no longer have sex with another woman, I would
Mhm.
still fall in love with another woman.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't change my sexuality. It just changed, like, I guess my physicality, like what I can and can't do, but it doesn't change how I will and won't feel. And
Right.
so it is nice to, it's like this double-edged thing where it's super nice. I love being able to see sex between women and the enjoyment of it on the page that is made to be enjoyed by women in a way,
Mm.
but also like reading the emotions that women have, because as someone who was married to a man and is now pretty much exclusively dating women, um, it is a very different experience,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
having a relationship with a man and having a relationship with a woman. And so it's
And it's
nice to see those
nice having books that
sort of
let you
things.
explore that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Because when I
I
was
am.
reading, sorry,
No, you go, Meka.
because like when we're reading, because you, as you were saying, when you're reading books, like having the bi aspect of it, because that's another thing that we face, like the biphobia. Because a little kissing between friends is one that shows that well, because we all see it on goddamn social media.
Yeah,
Social
Titia
media
did really
is
well with
right, and that's a real thing, because as a person who is in a straight presenting relationship, that's a real issue for me, and luckily I haven't faced a lot of backlash for it. Maybe it's the circle that I run in, because y'all are great, and y'all are great. Y'all are, but it is a real issue, because people can look at me and be like, bitch, what you know? And I'm just like, don't worry about it. Uh, don't worry
That's
about
not
it.
for you to
I
know.
don't have to, right. I don't have to disclose my entire dating history to you. Um, but I mean, it can be a real problem because of the climate that we're in, and the way people feel like they have the right to know business that's not theirs.
Hmm.
that.
Because folks
Very
be real
true.
nosy out there. They be
Yeah.
real nosy. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. Who are you, stranger on the internet?
And
Um,
in the UK at the moment, we've got the great shit going down with trans rights as well. So where people are going,
yes.
well, we need to know what your genitals are before you can go to the bathroom. They just want to poop. They just want to pee. Let them use the bathroom in peace and quiet. But it is genuinely scary where people act like they have the right to you and your history. And when I was growing up, it was brought in 88, when I was born, and they got rid of it, I think, around 2004, 2005, which was Section 28 in the UK, which made it illegal to promote homosexuality as a family unit in schools. So, for example, if you were gay, you couldn't, as a teacher, you couldn't talk about it. You couldn't come out because you would lose your job, because it would be seen as promoting homosexuality. This is only 20 years ago. For the first 18 years of my life, this was standard. So when people talk about, like, what they saw growing up, we didn't see it because it was illegal to show anything to children, like illegal. And what I'm seeing with transness, what I'm seeing with you guys in the States and some of the laws that are coming in, it feels like we're going backwards. And
Yeah.
it's terrifying. Like I've I've just heard of some friends who have said we're having to move states because in the last couple of months things have gotten so much worse, and we've
There
never
are
had
some
problems before.
tragic situations.
Oh,
And sh-
100%. It's especially being in the South, Georgia, where Meka and I are in Georgia, since we are, in the Atlanta-ish area. That is it's kind of the hub of Georgia's liberalness in a sense, Georgia's progressiveness in a sense, in that we're in very blue areas. So it's not something, and I'll just speak for myself, it's not something that I really have to deal with so much. I mean, also I have a level of, I'm about to be 40, so I have a level of like, fuck you, I don't care, afforded to me at this point where I'm just
yeah,
like, okay, and what? Um, but there are absolutely places that I won't go to. Or if I do, I have very clear routes of how I travel because of some of what's going on. And, I'm originally from Tennessee, and I just tell people I'll never move back. And when they ask, and I'll just say, look at what's going on. There's really only like so many pockets of areas that I can be in. And like, listen, I came out of the closet like 20 years ago. I'm not going back in. Like, that closet is full. No, thank you. Like,
My
it
goodness.
is absolutely scary in certain areas. And there's, thankfully we do have people that are in pushback. We are, there's different levels of protest that happens on national, state scale, city scale, and even like family scale. Like, I know for me, my family and we've had some like serious, like drop down, knockout conversations about things, where at this point, like, even the elders in my family know that there's only so many things they can say to me before I'll be like, listen, great aunt, don't start. It's real close. I don't mean, I'll put you in Sunny Acres. Don't start with me. You know, like, but it is frustrating to see the kind of the backslide, as Ali said,
yeah,
from like where we were in the 90s, of like not even having a word. Like, I didn't have a word for
yeah.
queerness. I didn't know what lesbians really were. Like, that wasn't really a thing that I knew about. And then having a word for it, when I went to college, was so super nice. And then just kind of seeing like a great progression of it to the point where, like, I really never thought about my sexuality after a point, because it just was, and it was just, natural and a thing. But then, like, seeing the backslide, especially like having a child who is in school age, and just like then having to have conversations with him about like, words mean things, and these are things that you should and shouldn't say. And if someone says this, here's how we can potentially like handle those conversations. Um, it's super frustrating. It's super
Yeah.
frustrating just to see, like, we were doing so well, relatively speaking. Um, but now to like just see the backslide that is happening in real time, and just
And
even
it's
having to think about, do I leave Georgia at some point? And if I do, like, where the hell do I go?
yeah.
Because also being at the intersection, I know Allie's been trying to get me to the UK for like 3 years at this point. Um, I'm
Come to
trying.
Europe.
But like, even even just seeing like the intersection of being queer and being black, like trying to
Yeah.
find a place that I can do both, and
Yeah.
then have a child. My child is very ambiguously ethnic. So like, then trying to find a place that I can have my child where he won't be uncomfortable in his biracialness.
Yeah.
It's like this weird, like, I might find somewhere that's very, very queer friendly, but then are they black people friendly? And
Yeah.
then I might find somewhere that's black people friendly, but are they queer friendly? And then, like, are they chill when it comes to, being a lesbian and raising a child? Because some places are not chill with that. It's just really kind of frustrating to find places where, like, just leave people the hell alone. Like,
Yeah.
if they're going to work, doing their jobs, paying their taxes, contributing to society, and who they do and don't want in their bed, as long as it's freaking
Yeah.
legal, like, leave people alone. Like, did we
That,
not all
Yeah.
have that in kindergarten, where we just said, don't touch people, leave people alone?
that part.
I
And I
find
mean,
it.
I live in the Capitol. Unfortunately,
Mm.
I am in the US Capitol, and going out to events like book events or just community events is always like I have to think about if it's going to be a potential problem, because while the area for the most part is very open and with, queer activities and such, it's also where the goddamn president is. So it's just this weird situation of like, is something potentially going to happen? Because there have
Yeah.
been protests on both sides of the thing. And it's just like, I just want to go sit with people and talk about this cute little sapphic book or this cute little queer book that's
Mm.
doing whatever and sit in community. But I don't know if it's potentially, we're going to walk out and get arrested. So it's very frustrating. But to that point, I kind of wonder, what do you guys all hope that sapphic books kind of bring to the options of reading that we have? Because obviously there's so many different ways that we can approach different types of sapphic books that are out there. So like, what is the big takeaway of making sure people read them in particular?
I think just
That
understanding that women have so many different facets. Like sapphic books aren't a monolith.
Mm.
You can absolutely enjoy my like very low angst, relatively vanilla romantic comedies and then go to and read Allie's books and get that cute, that cute
Super
feel.
kinky.
that cute
Like,
fisting.
yeah, that
Cute
cute kinky
fisting.
feel
Yes.
where, it's like a wonderfully fluffy girl who is, tied
Getting
up
flogged in the back.
and yeah, being flogged in the back, tied up, and afterwards, you cuddle her and you guys just chill out in a mound of pillows. Like
Yeah.
there's women
And
are
also more
everything.
than and also more than romance. I think like at the moment, weirdly enough, I'm not reading as much romance as I was. I'm reading fantasy, and not just romantasy. I'm reading like proper hardcore fantasy and erotic horror and sci-fi, and finding sapphic voices in that, where I'm always going to want a happy ever after. I love a happy ever after. Um,
Mhm.
but finding books where the romance isn't the main plot line, and yet they are comfortably sapphic, and it is just a thing, like the person
Mhm.
they're crushing on, or the
Yeah.
person who they kind of have a thing on the side. Like that, to me, I'm finding at the moment is the thing I get most excited about, where it just starts becoming more normal,
Yeah.
and all stories, romance stories and horror and non-fiction and like just we're everywhere. But also like the diversity of that. Like
Mm.
I don't want to read the same story over and over again. I mean, I say that I write romance. Like everyone's always going to have a happy ever after. How you get there is very different. But like I just
Exactly.
want diversity of genre and subgenre, kind of mainly fantasy, mainly speculative. Um, and I want different voices. I want to hear different voices, because there is so much I can learn about different people's experiences
Mm.
that have taught me stuff about myself, like understanding my own demisexuality and how that works. And also, like, people are fucking crushing it. Like, some of the sapphic indie authors are insanely good. Wildly good, sorry. Yeah.
And not also just for all ages. Like earlier when Ali told this, I find it interesting that I'm kind of like age wise right in the middle of when it was super bad and now that it is getting bad again because I'm 22. And so when Ali earlier said the thing about it being forbidden as a teacher to promote this, I had to think of my primary school English and German teacher who ended up actually getting married, and they were two women, and they're still married today. I ran into them a while ago, and they're great. And they didn't like when I saw that at 8 years old. They didn't like indoctrinate me, make me think, oh yes, pussy, because I didn't even know that word at 8 years old. But they were just really sweet, and I thought, yay, we're getting wedding cake because my favorite teacher and my most hated teacher got married. The English
Not
one was
the
my
most
favorite.
hated teacher.
She was okay.
Oh.
She was also our sports teacher, and I hated sports when I was younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my
Okay.
English
Okay.
teacher was like the sweetest person ever. Was one of the like people who have had the most positive influence in my early life because I was really bullied, and she was just such a sweet person. And the only thing I didn't think, oh wow, she's gay. I thought I'm happy for her, and also I got cake because they brought us wedding cake. And at 8 years
Hey.
old, that is the best thing you can do in class is eat wedding
Oh,
cake.
100%.
And so
Even now,
I feel
never
like
mind
that's
8 years old.
yeah, and that's so important. So that these books also just are available to certain degree for all ages. Obviously, we're not gonna
Yes.
go hand Ellie Smut to a 7-year-old,
That,
Right.
but there are super kids appropriate. Like when I talk to my youngest
Yeah.
brother is 11 years old, and for him it's super normal to see me dating women, to see me like kissing my girlfriend, and stuff like that. And I feel like it's had a really positive influence on him because he just doesn't care. He
I have
thinks
a
it's gross
9-month-old.
because that's my sister, but he doesn't care otherwise. He also thinks it's gross when
I
people kiss on TV. So
Yeah, I think
I
it's
have
it's really
tracks.
nice too to have it normalized because you
Yeah.
know I have a 12-year-old and like having conversations with him about me dating and like his biggest concern is not me dating another woman. His biggest concern is like, oh, like are you bringing more kids in the house? Do I have to share my things? Like he's just like I don't care if you date a man or a woman. I just don't want to have to share my stuff
just leave me
with
my
some
truck.
other children. Like that's never. Whereas like it's so nice. Like that is the concern. The concern or like the pushback is not about the body of the person that I may or may not end up with. It's more so just like a
How's it
normal
gonna impact me?
child concern. Like yeah, do I have to
Yeah.
share things?
And it makes for
like
more tolerant adults later on.
that. I mean,
And
I
I
think that
have
there are children's books that give representation of like, oh, I have this crush on this other person who
Yeah.
shares the same like, and it's totally fine to have middle grade, young adult, and then like completely children's books that show these types of relationships because it is normal, and we are like not we in this room, but the general we of the world is trying to act like it's not normal to have these experiences. We can go back to the 1600s and they was doing the same shit we doing today. What you talking
yeah,
about?
we're
So
reducing
everyone
I'm
says
half
it
the
Italian,
is. I
gays
don't
in
know
my
what you're talking
blood.
about.
or
Yeah. They
reducing
like pretend it's
like
not.
I have
reducing the gay experience to just sex
Yeah.
is
yeah.
like the
yeah,
gay
I
experience is
have
not just sex.
I have a 9-month-old nephew who is the chunkiest, most adorable little thing. And he throws his head back. When he laughs, he does this thing and goes, oh, I love you.
Oh, I love
Um,
him.
But I have picture books at home. I don't have any kids. I don't want any kids, but I have picture books, and I have 2 shelves, and we call it the liberal agenda. And when my friends come around with the kids, that's what they get taken to. And I have books like A is for activist, and Love Makes a Family, and in Love Makes a Family, you see all these different families. You see single parent families. You see like gay couples, people with wearing hijabs, people of different colours. There's a disabled family, like people with disability. It's really, and the more books I get him, and I am trying my best to be the book aunt, even though my sister is encroaching on my fucking territory.
How dare
Like the books that there are out there for children are phenomenal. There's a beautiful picture book called Julian. Julian is a mermaid, and it's about this boy. I think he's at like one of the Bajan parades in like Barbados, and he sees all these women being mermaids, and he wants to be a mermaid, and he steals like curtains, and he grabs stuff, and his grandma walks in, and he thinks he's going to get told off, and instead she hands him a necklace and takes him out to be part of the parade. And there's another one called I think it's a fox named Herbert, and it's about a rabbit who wants to be a fox, and it's a trans allegory. And you see this little rabbit like trying to dress up like a fox, and the mum going, "What are you doing? You're a rabbit! Stop it! Stop it!" And then by the end, and there are so many books like this now. Like I can't imagine what emotion. Fuck. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I had access to all of that, I came out at
Mhm.
32. I came out to my grandma 2 years ago, which I thought went well, and turns out she'd been referring to my girlfriend as that woman until the dementia hit, and now she doesn't remember who anyone is. So, you know, swings around about.
Wow.
Having
Yeah,
more access
but
to all of that also just makes it safer to
yes,
realize things about, like I grew up on Destiel fanfiction on Wattpad, and that was not the healthiest way to realize that you're quite kind of queer. I came out at 14, yes, but the only access I had to really queer stuff was that kind of stuff. And I still love the fanfiction scene. I was a big fanfiction author. That is how I got started writing, because I didn't have any friends. but but that is such a like weird way to come into a queer scene. And then like if I
yeah,
same way you said, Ellie, I don't know what it would have been like if I had that kind of stuff just growing up. It's such a nicer, safer way to realize. And kids by themselves,
yeah.
they don't come onto the earth hateful. We teach
No.
them that.
Yeah.
And
I remember
it's,
the first
Yes.
time someone told me what being gay was. Like, I asked, someone said, "Oh, Stephen Gately, who was a member of Boyzone, which is a boy band from the island that none of you have probably heard of." Um, but
no.
like, people said he killed himself because he was gay, and I didn't know what that meant. So I went and asked my mum what being gay was, and she sat me down, and she clearly thought it was going to be a big thing. And she went, and "I'm 10." She's like, "It's when a man loves a woman, a man loves a man, or a woman loves a woman." And I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, well, I understand that."
Yeah.
And for her, she was like, "Oh, you don't have any questions?" I was like, "No, that makes perfect sense. Oh, I understand my brain now." And those are, you know, and it is, and coming out has been really interesting because, like, I've known since I was younger than 10 that I was queer, and they've only known the last couple of years, and so it's been a real adjustment. Like, we mentioned Xena earlier. We were all talking about Xena Warrior Princess the other week, and I was like, yeah, I think I was probably watching it for the same reason as my dad, and my dad was there going, "What? No, no." And then had the audacity to say that it was Gabrielle that he had a crush on, and I was like, "We are not related. Clearly, you are attracted to the wrong woman, Gabrielle." I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Xena is right there being gummy and delightful. I may have been imprinted on her as a young woman.
Like a duckling.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much. This is what I need in my life. And
listen,
I feel like we all need a Xena in our life. Let's just be so for
Mhm.
real right now. Like, come on. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it would be, I mean, I guess I can say for me, like I knew when I was like 13 that I was, and like I said, I didn't have a word for it. I knew I liked women. I was still not quite sure if I actually liked guys or not.
Mhm.
Um, but it's funny too because I was cleaning my mom's house out because I finally convinced her that she didn't need all that space with just her and a cat. And so I found my diary from like 1996. And I'll just let you know, I was 11 in 1996. And 100%, and I'll just like my background, I grew up like Black Baptist in Tennessee. So that just gives you kind of an idea of what that background was. We were in the church on Wednesdays and Sundays. And if I didn't go to church on Sunday, I was not allowed to do anything during the week. Um, no sports if you don't, talk about sin on Sunday. Um,
I mean, I
and
would
so
not
I
have gone
remember
to church, and I
reading,
would not have done sports. Where is the problem? Sorry,
I
I
was, I
interrupted.
listen,
I
I was,
apologize.
I was Sporty Spice, which should have told me something, um, but no, I found my diary and I found my entries where I was talking about like wanting God to take away the fact that I wanted to kiss the girl on Sunday at like youth Bible study, and it didn't make any sense. And so, like, I didn't have anything. And so when I found anime, like that was like I clung to that. Like every time I got a little bit of allowance, I was going to get the next Sailor Moon whenever it was finally translated and it was out at, whatever bookstore was back then. That's probably not here anymore. But yeah, like if I had had some of those books and also have had like a family where they would have been open to buying me those books, a lot of the like inner struggle from like age 9 to like, I don't know, 14 or 15, because I was the sport girly in the locker room being like, I can't watch this. What is this illegal? Like, what is happening? Who did all of the sports, but was still very much like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get married and have 2.5 children. Um, yeah, like if I had had a word for that, and I didn't. I think the best thing that happened for me is that I went to college and I had queer friends where, because even though I like, and I'll just say I dated another woman from like 10th grade through freshman year of college, but I was still very much like, maybe I'm bi, you know, just because I like when a girl sits on my face doesn't mean I'm a lesbian.
Carmen.
What?
It's the absolute best,
Carmen.
Mika. Let's be honest.
Mika,
Okay,
Mika.
speak your truth.
You know, but like I did, even then I still didn't have the language. I
Yeah.
didn't have the books, I didn't have the language, and everything that I really watched that was sapphic media was, I mean, first of all, very white, but also like there were so many subtleties and so many euphemisms that like there was nothing there until like the L word, where I was like, oh, these women are, oh, so that's what it means when, oh, okay, now I have some language for it.
Oh,
but like,
God, the L word was
listen,
bad.
that's a whole other podcast.
So good.
But like, there wasn't, because there wasn't a language to it, I didn't know how to even explain it to myself, what I was feeling and how I was feeling. And I grew up in a house, like I have 6 sisters, and like 5 out of the 7 of us are queer in some way. But like, even for us, even having that many sisters, we didn't necessarily have a language to talk about it until we all got to a certain age and a certain level of like it being out there in the world, that then we can have these conversations and realize like, oh shit, yeah, no, we're all queer in some kind of way. Like 100%, Pops was like doing nothing but shooting alphabets. Like,
I mean, okay, so for me, I'm not asexual. I'm demisexual, and like I just don't like people for the most part, period, ever. Like unless they're fictional. And so I'm just like, please just go away. And I remember the first time, I think I was early 20s, my dad was like, "Oh yeah, your aunts thought you were a lesbian because you just never dated any guys." And I was like, "No, I just don't like anybody at all." Like gross. And I was in college at the time, and like me and my best friend, whenever we would go out or do anything, we were basically fake dating. Like had a whole boyfriend, but like when we went out by ourselves, we would get bothered. And like I was in college, and then I was also like working, and so I had 2 fake girlfriends that were like really close friends because I just didn't want to be bothered. Both of them was dating dudes, mind you. One of them was actually bisexual. I didn't know that though. So like I would
I think
just
I
be like,
read
"Oh
that
no,
book."
this is my girlfriend," and I'd be holding her hand, and we like hug up or whatever. And it was just, so people wouldn't bother me because I'm like, I'm not interested in you. But if I say I don't have a boyfriend or I'm not dating someone, then you're trying to talk to me, and I'm like, go away. I don't like nobody. But like, I didn't even really think about that till just now, but I was totally fake dating 2 women in college.
Trailblazer.
And thus starts Randy's coming out story. Ray's coming out story.
I find it so funny. For me, when I realized I was queer, it was easier for me to admit and realize that I didn't like men, because I'd never been interested in men. I had one phase in primary school where I was like, oh yeah, I totally like that guy because you all like that guy. I could not give a single shit. So it was easier for me to say, oh yeah, I don't give a shit about men. So I, at the time, was doing a project on asexuality actually, and I really vibed with that. And I still kind of flip flop around that scale at this point, just say queer because I never really know where I land. But I found myself in that. So for a while, I really just said, oh yeah, I'm probably just like ace, because it was easier for me to say I don't like men than to say, oh yeah, I like women, because at that point I already knew I was in love with my best friend. Very cliche. But we had that very weird homoerotic friendship that I feel like a lot of people had growing up, and so even when I kind of had the words, it was still easier to say men no than women yes. because
I mean,
it
one of
still
the things
felt like a weird thing.
one of the things I say about myself is I'm ABCD. I'm anyone but cis dudes. Like,
I like that.
honestly, like I'm done with. I have terrible taste in cis dudes. Like non-binary people, trans guys, trans women, gay women, absolutely. But cis men, no. I can't. I can't be trusted to pick any of the decent ones out there. I just go for arseholes.
Yeah, at this
So
point, if Allie like was this dude, we're like, he's bad news. That's a bad like it's very much Charmed with like,
Yeah.
oh, Phoebe likes that guy. That's the bad guy for this house.
yeah,
I used to think that I was in love with my best friend's boyfriend at the time, who is a trans girl now.
makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Yeah,
I also wasn't into her, but I projected my being into my best friend on her relationship at the time. But funny enough, they broke up because they were both gay, and then no, turned out that she was dating a trans girl.
That's right. Look, it works. It works.
Yeah,
It does.
it's a whole weird thing.
So if folks want to read something, Laura, I know that your story was in One Page One Love, which I
Yes.
think came down this
Tomorrow.
week. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah. So if folks want to read something that you have that's sapphic, what would you recommend to them? You're not publishing anything else right now, so
No, not right now. No.
so
I'm writing a lot of stuff right now, but I'm not publishing anything right now.
yeah. So it'll be in progress
In the
for
future.
Laura. What about Meka? What should they start with?
I'm really bad at these things.
Pick a sapphic book that you want people to read.
It's like asking me to pick my favorite child.
I just, you know what?
Just the first
It's
one
a
you think
starter. It's not just only this one.
I know, but it just
Honey,
depends on what their mood is. That's why I'm saying.
we'll pick one for Mika. Read Unexpected Turn.
Okay.
that
So
one's
if they're
cute.
going to
And
start with
also mechanics of love.
Mechanics. Yes, Mechanics of
Oh
Love.
yeah,
Mechanics of
Yeah.
love.
okay, so there's two.
Really is. Really is.
Unexpected Turn is a novella. It's a road trip romance. Only one bad situation. It's going to be a hookup between the maid of honor and the best woman. May is really shy and very socially awkward, and Cicely is a little bit more self assured and secretly crushing on May, but May doesn't pick up on those cues because, again, she's very socially awkward. And she's like, there's no way this woman likes me. And also, May thinks she's very bad at sex. And so she's just like, we're not going to do this thing. But Cicely's up for the challenge. And then Mechanics of Love is my first full length that I had ever written. All my sapphics before that one were novellas, and that one is a Remy and Irene. Irene is leaving her cheating ex-husband because he was a dickwad. He was a dickwad, and she had a secret crush on Remy for a lot of years. Remy just thought Irene was an annoying person because Irene didn't know how to tell her, I think you're cute, and I would like to sit on your face.
I mean, the way to a woman's heart is.
Remy was just like, please leave me alone. Irene was just like, but I really want to sit on your face. They work it out. They do work it out.
By sitting on each other's faces.
It is a really, that one comes with some trigger warnings though for people out there listening. There is talk of an ailing parent. There is talk of infertility issues. Just so that people are warned that is a situation that is happening in that book. That it is
really hot sex as well. So.
It is, but it is also a slow burn.
Yeah.
So that you know, it is a slow burn. But when you get there, it is like 4 chapters.
Sorry, I really like this book
of sex.
And if you want to read that book, Meka also has a really good candle that smells exactly like that 4 chapter sex. reads.
Like,
so just as an
Mhm.
FYI.
face being set
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
When you
that
get that
candle is
bundle,
nothing
get that
but
book and buy that candle. The
Yes.
candle.
Don't put the candle on your face though.
I have that candle on my over here.
yeah, that candle is absolutely a face setting candle.
What do you call it, Carmen? What's your
Oh,
tagline
that
for the
candle
candle?
is lesbian sex between two very nicely thick thighs.
The
That
candle's
And
actually just called Irene.
that
Not Carmen.
Same thing.
I just said that.
The candle's actually just called Irene.
Irene has very nice thick thighs. I'm confused.
But it is because Remy always said she smelled good enough to eat.
And did.
She did.
And did. But yes, Mechanics of Love is a slow burn. But it is a 4-chapter sex scene when they get to it. Remy does come over with a backpack. She comes prepared,
Yes.
snacks,
Yes.
water, and all the things that are required for a really, really, really good time.
Yes. Well, I come prepared with books.
Oh.
Oh, she's stepping it up. Do that.
Because right, I know you said one, but I've got 4 books with me, so tough shit. I'm currently doing book boxes.
Ooh.
So I have this one, which is Nix and Tal, and then this one, she has a butt dimple. You can't quite see it. It's like here. There's a butt dimple, and her arms are thick and delightful. And then the butchness and the shoes and the motorbike. So this is my Aaron Nix's series. It's a complete series. Each book is a different standalone, and then there's a mystery that goes across all 3 books. And the reason I have them with me, because I'm currently on holiday, is because I haven't started yet. I'm foiling the edges myself. So yeah, so they have silver
Love that.
edges, and then I have a book box with merch in it. There are tarot spreads, there are mocktail recipes that are in this book. There's a stressed donut because Finn is a vegan baker. So I have
you
a
mean
book
an
box
actual stress donut? I thought you meant one to sit on. I'm
like
sorry.
the squishy ones. Yeah. But I also
Did
have
you say one to sit on?
Yeah, like people sit on the donuts when they have issues with the booty. My brain
Oh,
went to that.
hemorrhoid pillows.
Yeah,
yeah,
my brain. Sorry.
I'm not including hemorrhoid pillows in my book box. I kind of want to make that clear.
Well,
Why
also
not?
there's spanking in Allie's book, so that would probably track because
My
you need
brain
something
See,
soft
it
to
makes
sit on.
sense.
some butt play, and she just
Yeah.
needed a pillow. My
It's-
brain
it's
was like,
been
oh,
so hard that you asked for it.
because that tracks. So,
There's
okay.
So you gotta sit on the hemorrhoid pillow.
A pillow. Oh, no, sorry, you meant not that kind of donut. You mean okay, right? My
Well, that
bad.
was on food. I thought she meant like
the
an
other one
actual
I have with
recipe
me
for a
is
donut.
Chase Me in the Woods, which comes out on the 5th. This one has the Irish goddess, the Morrigan, in it. And Kira, who's hiding from her abusive ex-husband who's been stalking her. She's been hiding for 5 years, and he finds her. Only it turns out that the wolf she's been feeding is like a centuries-old goddess, and it's very much touch her and die kind of vibes. He may not make it out of the book alive. And I'm also in the middle of writing something called Petting Penelope, which comes out in September, which is my lesbian breeding kink hookah book. So
You said a lot of words there.
if you want lesbian breeding kink where the girl being bred says moo, I'm your girl. Everything's really sweet and lovely though. Like, it's filthy, but it is like my characters are really, I wouldn't say they're necessarily always soft, but they are utterly gone on each other. That's the kink is just because they're neurodiverse and queer, and that's how yeah. And this one's actually my PhD. This is one of the pieces that I'm submitting as part of my PhD, which is really cool. So, yeah.
Oh.
Yay.
I think I yelled lots of books. I yelled too many books. I apologize profusely.
You're fine. Stop apologizing, Allie. What did we say about that?
Exactly.
Carmen.
So I'm gonna take a page out of Allie's book. I have my books with me, so of course I have 7
Look
Tin
at y'all
Foot,
coming to
which is-
class prepared.
I mean, technically, I'm in my office, and my books are right under here. But yeah, it's my bowling romance.
Read that one. I love that
Former
one.
friends, two rivals, two lovers. Small town set in Georgia, and a town that I've created all myself. When I win the lottery, you're more than welcome to live in it. Yes, I will absolutely start a cult, but we don't do anything other than just live in the same location and just chill.
I'm
And
here
then,
for it.
listen, book 2, The Relationship Mechanic, came out this past January. It's the youngest sister because mechanics and overalls and lesbians are sexy.
I
And
agree.
right, all the things. And then book 3 comes out in August. It's the Secret Crush Book Club. It's the oldest sister, Danny. It's one of the only books where I really deal with coming out because she is a single mom and she's about to turn 30, and she is kind of coming to the realization that, you know, she's kind of dated men her entire life, but things like nothing was just really there when it came to them. And she falls for the new librarian in town who starts a book club. And there's lots of talk about spreading pages of the books.
Comfy.
I'm just saying, they spread pages. It's book club. But yes, and my excitement about this is I actually had a conversation with my editor at first when I started getting to book 3, and I was like, "Is it weird that all of the sisters end up with women?" And she's like, "Who the fuck cares? It's your books." And I was like, "You are right. So smart." So all 3 of the sisters end up with women in my fictional small town of Peach
As
Blossom.
they should.
You
And
know,
you said it's coming out in August. We are in August. It comes out.
oh
August
snap! This is
26th.
August. What
This
is
is
time?
August.
When it
It's
comes
6.
out,
It's available for
August
pre-order.
26th.
In
And
24 days.
yes, available for pre-order. If you go to Scribbles Bookshop, I'm actually doing like a signed pre-order campaign with her because her bookshop is really great. And it probably will come with lots of different goodies. I am the quintessential procrastinator, so I don't know what those are yet, but I will figure it out in 24 days. But if you are also, right, but if you want something, I do have indie books as well because I publish traditionally and indie because that's just what my ADHD says to do, and we just follow her. But I do have a smaller book, Crossroads, that came out April of this year. And it is a
10 out
like
of 10.
former best friends to friends to lovers, where one of the main characters finds out her ex-husband was cheating with her old friend, and she moves back home and realizes that the feelings that she had for her former best friend in high school are still there. And that, yeah, book 2 for that Hickory Springs series, because I love a good small town sapphic romance, and that's usually like my claim to fame these days. The next book for that comes out in November. I'm similar to Allie, where I'm like right in the middle of finishing that book. But it's fun. So I have a lot more sapphic books that I plan to put out, and I also have a Patreon where I'm currently doing a Black Sapphic Mafia dark romance
It's
serial.
good.
Yes, Allie has read some of it. Yeah, I support women's wrongs at this point. I think with the state of our country and our lots of other things, I have decided that, you know, women are getting revenge. And so
Yes.
that is, I love my rom-coms because I am apparently a sunshiny person, which seems weird to me, but people have told me that I am sunshiny, I guess, which is weird. But occasionally my, you know, inner darker voice comes out, and it usually comes out on Patreon. So if you like dark sapphic romance, find my Patreon. That's where I'm putting all of that.
That part. You are the opposite of, I can't think of the author of Uzumaki, where he's so sweet, but but that manga is so dark, and then we go to like
Oh,
some of the other ones, and they're so dark, but
Oh yeah,
the
him and Hayao
creators are so,
Miyazaki. Yeah,
yes.
Miyazaki, like his personality is very kind of like, he talks and he's just like, yeah, everything is terrible, like this is gross, and he, you know, did My Neighbor Totoro, and it's all like
Yeah.
super happy, and then Uzumaki is just like kittens. And you know, what he writes is like super dark and disturbing. You're like,
Twisted.
how?
Like, how
But
do we
yeah.
get here?
Yeah.
That's you.
Oh, thanks.
Crossroads was in Mika's book girlfriends box, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. And I'll be doing, I think I'm going to do another one of those
Next
next year. I can only have the mental capacity to do anything that requires any sort of organizational skills once a year because I am a pantser at heart and it requires a lot of mental strength to organize. But I do want to put together another Book Girlfriends box, which I will figure out and start organizing for next year. But
you put
yes,
it out in Lesbian Visibility Week, right, or month or so, right? I think is when it was shipped out to folks.
yeah, something like that. I think I put it out in April. I sent it out in April. So I started advertising in January and I think I shipped it in April. So I had 4 months of advertising and it shipped in April, which was Lesbian Visibility Month when I Googled
Nice.
it. So I will be advertising. I got to reach out to people and figure out which authors I want to advertise. I do 4 books plus
Goodies.
bookish plus swag and such. So I will be
Nice.
doing that again because it worked. I We'll see how it goes again if people are interested. I mean, in this economy, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yes, I want to promote more sapphic books because that's where I'm leaning these days for sure. Because my next couple books are sapphic. Book 2 and my Atlanta Cannons series will be coming out. Jesus, not till next year, but more basketball ladies. I know, traditional
You're
publishing,
working
man.
on an indie though, right? Indie stuff.
Yes. Extra credit will be out hopefully by the end of the year. Probably, I can't say hopefully because you people will bully me. Um, but
We will.
extra credit will be out
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the year. It's going to be it goes along with an unexpected turn. It's in that sort of that's a trope. It's a parent teacher situation. So fun times there. And it's
Yeah.
gonna have a little dom subby situation.
Yeah.
G- Yeah, Allie, knew that probably make you happy. A little dom subby situation going with that one. So yes, that's gonna be fun to write, and I'm also working on one with multiple people, which is
You're doing a poly?
She is.
poly-ish. Yes,
Ethical non-monogamy.
Yes.
ethical-ish.
Nice.
We rock with
Okay.
it.
We're here for it. Need more of that.
I mean, I don't know how ethical it is when we open the marriage because the husband was kind of a.
But the relationships that happens in that is
It's
ethical because
ethical,
she
yes.
chooses to be involved in the situation that she steps into, even though her husband is a sorry piece of shit.
Yes.
To be
How you
ex-husband.
really feel, Randy?
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I do have some things I'm working on that do include, more ladies. She's, you know, writing or, she's coming into her own later in life because, experience, life.
Sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah,
That part.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So
it takes
y'all don't fuss at me. I guess I'll say that I'm also working on a Mafia Sapphic on my Patreon. So that is
Yeah, you are.
available there. And
Yes, you are.
It's about time.
shut up. I have 2 short stories as well that were in One Page One Love that were sapphic. So it's not the first thing I published, but it's the first long thing. And I've had plenty of sapphic couples that are like my loving side characters in my books. And Allie has lovingly bullied me into hurrying up and writing faster and actually putting them as the main characters.
I mean,
Abby?
you've wanted to do it for a long time. You just needed it. You just needed encouragement.
I just needed Allie to slide into my phone and be like, "Why are we still not doing it?"
I'm writing
Yeah,
a man
I mean,
for the first
Everything
time.
sounds nicer when it comes in a British accent.
does it?
I mean,
What
I
did
can
you
call
say you
people
were
cunts,
writing,
and it
Laura?
sounds wonderful.
Oh,
Um,
one of the million projects I'm working in is the first one of mine to actually include a man. He's not a love interest or anything. He's a lovable best friend. But it is the first time that I'm actually actively writing a man. I have cut men out of writing projects before, and I do this thing where I try to even mention as little men as possible, like even in the books that my characters read or the music they listen to. Because I read one book a while ago that I loved, that was Dark Academia, and the entire time there wasn't a single man mentioned, and so I kind of just started subconsciously doing that. I have two projects where men are mentioned, and one they're only mentioned in the past. It only has very negative influences, and in the witch hunters, to be specific, because I love me witch hunting. And then I have one where my character spends her like entire life thinking she's in love with her male best friend until his wedding, and then like falls in love with a woman because she writes a book about her whole like experience with that, a fictional book, and like not getting the person that she thinks is like her soulmate, and then she falls in love with a bookstore owner who does like a signing with her.
Oh, I
I
need
thought
it.
you were gonna
Yeah.
say she falls in love with the bride. I was like, that was gonna be messy.
No,
Yeah.
no. They're a very, very happily married, straight appearing couple. The bride is bisexual, but yeah,
Okay.
he realizes through the book, and he's like, "Why the fuck didn't you say anything? What the fuck? I'm your best friend." But they're very sweet, and I love their friendship. But he's the only man that I consciously write.
fair.
Here,
Okay.
here for it.
Um,
All right,
can I?
so if tell us where we can find you guys, your social media, your websites, events that are coming up. Allie, let's start with you.
You can find me online on Instagram and Facebook, CL Aficionado, or if you search Ellie Rose Ali Williams, I write under both pen names, that will pop up. I'm next going to be at a signing. I just did my last like big signing of the year. I'm going to be at a board games festival in south of England at the end of this month, and then I'm going to be at Fiction Fans of Ball Gowns After Dark next year in Manchester, which is very exciting. But yeah, you can buy all my books, or most of my books on Amazon, but also all the physical books you can buy directly from me, and it comes with like little merch and cute notes, and yes, buy my books, please, but also buy sapphic books and read queer and read everyone else's books too.
Okay, so yes, you can find me on my website, karmenlee.com. You can also order signed copies, physical copies on my website as well. I also sell surprise book boxes on my website. So if you're not sure what book you want to start when it comes to like my backlist, because I do, like I said, publish traditionally, but I also have quite a few indie books. You could do a surprise book box and let me choose one for you, kind of just based on what your mood is, and also get some fun little merch. I am on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook, author Karmen Lee. I'm on TikTok as well. Don't laugh at me when you see my videos, but also author Karmen Lee. It's hard, y'all.
It is.
It's hard. Social media is really difficult. But yes, you can also find my books on Amazon, but I am trying to do more things directly. So I stopped giving Bezos as much money. So absolutely check out my website, karmenlee.com. And I think that's it. I'll be, oh man. Okay. So today I am at Parnassus Books. For Bookstore Romance Day on August 10th, I will be at the Lavender Bookshop in Marietta, Georgia. Also for Bookstore Romance Day, or I guess Bookstore Romance Weekend. August 16th, I will be in Columbus, Mississippi for Possumtown Book Fest, which I really hope that eventually I can get like a picture with a life-size possum, someone in a possum costume, because my Southern experience will be complete when that happens. I will also, at the end of October, be at Steamy LitCon in Anaheim, California. And I think that's all the events that I'm doing for 2025. I have a lot for 2026 because people make me leave the house. but that's all for this year. So you can also check my website. I try to keep my events that I'll be at updated. Don't check today because it's probably not updated, but I promise it will be. I'm also on Patreon. I keep forgetting about Patreon,
You
but I'm
talked
also,
about it, but yes,
I know,
Patreon.
but yes,
Go on there. Like y'all got to read the Sapphic Mafia that's on there, and
yes, my
all the other
sapphic
goodies.
mafia.
There's some other stuff on there too.
Yes, I do have occasionally my darker I call her Kaylee instead of Karmen Lee, but my darker Kaylee persona comes out, and I have a little section called Feral Fiction, and sometimes she just, like I said, the way to a woman's heart is through her legs, I guess. And so sometimes things just get real
Ridiculous.
dark and dirty on there. But you read it, you enjoyed it. I don't know what you're talking about. So yes.
I can still say it's ridiculous, but yes.
Laura, I don't know, like if you have all the things, but tell us all the things, website or social media.
I was already very fittingly called a granny today by the girl I have a crush on. Because I do have an Instagram. I have a bookstagram that I barely know how to use and have not posted on in a bit, but I try. I'm just busy. But it's called Queer Book Central, and I do try to post pretty much exclusively about sapphic books actually. And just the stuff I read, only the stuff I enjoy, and then under the same name, I'm on Goodreads. But yeah, if I ever publish something, I will probably try to talk about that on when I publish something. I will try to
Thank
talk
you.
about that on Instagram if I remember my login. Actually, I don't know.
Yes. So you can find me at authormekajames.com. I sell all of my indie books, paperbacks, and ebooks direct. I prefer you buy from me as opposed to getting them from the Bezos because please buy direct from me. I also have the candles that Carmen and Rae were talking about. You can get them from me as well. The one candle that they talked about is called Irene.
It's called lesbian sex.
Look,
It's
Irene,
not going to be labeled lesbian sex on the website, though. It's going to be labeled Irene.
Irene smells good.
So, but yes, but it's authormekajames.com. Also, all of my social media is called Author Meka James because I have the memory of a goldfish and I won't remember my logins if all the names aren't the same. So I am on Threads, Instagram, and a TikTok. And similar to Carmen, look, I'm basic, I'm old. It is what it is. I do the best I can. I'm trying to do the social media stuff on these little apps and stuff. I can I can only do I can only do so
I
much.
relate.
This is a young person's game. Oh Lord, you want to let the old lady do what she can do. This old lady is trying her best. But right. So, but I try my best. I also will be at Parnassus for Romance Bookstore Day. If you are in Nashville, come on over to Parnassus if you're in Nashville and come see us. There will still be tickets available. Yeah, I think you can buy tickets at the door. And then on Sunday, Carmen volunteered me for Lavender Bookshop in Marietta for the next part of Romance Bookstore Week. So I'll be there. So you can come see me there as well. And then we'll be in Anaheim. We are kind of a package deal. We travel together a lot. So we'll be in Anaheim. I promise I'm not stalking her. We just travel together a lot. It's just it's
I mean, to be
easy.
fair, if there was a stalker, it probably would be me.
So yes, I will be at Stimulant Con in October, and then that is also the end. I don't think I have any other virtual events coming up.
I'll check our calendar.
Thank you. Thank you. Please check our calendar and let me know if I have signed up for something else that I have forgotten. So yes, those are my upcoming events. But yeah, if you are interested in any of my books, I actually have everything in stock currently. So yeah, hit up my website and buy some. They all come signed. They come with some merch. I make bundles with the candles that I make. Actually do go with the characters in my books, and I call them experience bundles, so that when you're reading the books and you get to the thing where, when you write the books and you describe how the characters smell, that's what the candles are. So you can read the book, and they're like, when they say the character smells like, I don't know, a rain shower after a hot day, it's a candle. And then now you
I
know what
always
that
want to
smells
know how
like.
to know that.
What did you say, Laura?
I always want to know when they describe like really specific
What it
scent. How do
smell
you
like?
know that?
Yeah.
How good
Well,
is your sense of smell? But I love it. So
yeah, well, now you know, because then you can burn the candle and be like, oh, that's what that smells like.
Yes. Yes.
I turned them into candles. Um, so yes, so you can now buy the character candles that go with my books. So yeah, that's everything.
Yay.
Yay.
So I just want to say thank y'all all for coming on. This has been Rae's Corner. We had a lot of laughs, real deep conversation. It's hard to be authors sometimes because while we are all experiencing the writing struggles, we experience them alone. So it's always fun to come on and do conversations and talk about books and our craft and things that we enjoy and all the stuff. So I want to thank Laura and Meka and Carmen and Allie for getting into all of that with me today. And as a reminder, nobody puts Rae in the corner unless she's gushing over books. We out.
Bye.